Hello, hello. How are we all doing? Today I'm going over appointment setting in this video. This is basically just a breakdown of how appointment setting works, why it's so good, and basically why you should start if you're wanting to start making money online. It is one of the simplest ways you can make money online. And to break it down really, really simply, all you are doing is sending DMs on behalf of a business or an influencer that sells a product or service and getting these keen buyers, these people that are in the buyer's pocket, as we call it, onto a call with the closing team or a salesperson. From there, the salesperson or the closer closes the deal. The money is obviously transacted, and you get a cut of that sale. So, appointment setting is used in just about every business. It's not applicable to all, but it is majority used online through Instagram, Facebook, sort of any business or product that you see sold online. There will be a person on the other end of the phone, basically just sending DMs and getting this person onto a call. But yeah, basically the breakdown of how this really works is business or product. A business sells a product or a service. Sorry, could be an influencer, could be someone who basically just markets the product over here that basically funnels in these people who are keen to buy this product or service. From there, this person will obviously follow along. They'll, start to think, okay, I need this product, or I need this service through the advertising or the marketing. And from there, they turn into a lead, what we call a lead or a buyer. This lead or buyer will eventually be got into the sales slash closing side of the process in the middle here, where the setters, where you will come in, or the closer, will basically get them onto a call. Number one, that's the setter's job. And number two is close the deal. That's where the closer comes in and actually gets the money over the line. But yeah, that's a basic breakdown really of, I guess, how it all works. As a setter, your job is essentially just to get this person on the call first and foremost. Once you get them onto the call, it is then the closer's job to actually close that deal. And it is all dependent on the product or service as to how many leads are actually generated, how many people are actually buying or interested in buying this product. And yeah, you don't actually have to create the product yourself. That's one of the best ways. The best thing, sorry, about setting is you don't actually have to physically create a product. You don't have to fulfill any customer needs. You just come in because the business has already created this product or service, and you are basically just the middleman for this lead um, to the business to get them on this call. So yeah, setting is one of the best ways, if not the best ways, to start making money online. Because realistically, we all doom scroll and we can all start sending DMs. We can all send DMs to our mates. So what's not to say you can send it to keen buyers that are actually interested in buying a product or service and making money off of it. So yeah, that's a basic breakdown of basically what it is first and foremost, how it actually works. Next, I'm going to be going over why it is the best way to start making money online. I did touch on it before, but I will break it down even further. The best way to actually start making money online is actually not having to create a product or a service, because we all know how hard it is to actually ideate and come up with a product or service that fulfills a customer's needs. It can be very, very difficult to actually create that and fulfill the needs of that product. So yeah, basically a setup will come in for the business and basically just get this person on a call. I know I keep repeating myself, but that is a very niche breakdown, a very, sorry, basic breakdown of exactly what it is the setter's job is. And yeah, like I said, anyone can send DMs. Anyone can be sat on their phone sending DMs from one of these. It is very simple, and it is really, there's not much else to it. It is quite literally that simple. You're just sending DMs on behalf of a business or a service or an influencer to get this person on a call. You can also do it from wherever you want. Yeah, realistically, you can take your phone wherever you want to go and be sending DMs to these people. So, with all that in mind, you're no longer tied to a wage. Anyone can send DMs, and you can do it from wherever. there's a lot of positives to the space. There is a lot of positives to the skill. And like I said, you can use these skills for any other business or service that you choose of your choosing. Once you have actually developed the skills and become confident and competent in those skills, then you can use them however you like, really. Um, but yeah, breaking down the actual number percentage for the earning potential in the space, especially for a setup, it is quite mind blowing how much money you can actually make from this. And it is all dependent on really how badly you want it, how much hours you're willing to put in. Because as we know, anything takes time, and sending DMs is going to take time. But like I said, you're no longer tied to a wage, which is good. You can sort of pick and choose when you want to work, and pick and choose really when you want to put the work in and get the results that you're wanting. Of course, that depends on the business that you work for. I do know a lot will actually have you tied down to hours that you have to work, and actually having to put in the hours yourself. But breaking it down, say a product, say it's a fitness coaching offer that sells their offer for $10,000. So it's 10 grand in total. That's a paid in full. Usually a setter gets around 5%. Sometimes it can be lower, sometimes it can be a little bit higher, but 5% is the typical commission rate for a setter. So say for a $10,000 product, right? You close this deal, 5% of that 10K is $500. So for example, let's say we book 20 sales calls. So you've been on your phone, sending DMs all day, and you book 20 people on a call for the closer to then close the deal. And they've attended the call, and the closers only closed five. You still get a payout of $2,500. $2,500 for 5 calls closed. And that's not to say you can't get more, you might get less, but breaking down the numbers, I just wanted to show you guys exactly, I guess, how much earning potential is in this space. Obviously, it is, like I said, dependent on how badly you want it, but that is really just a breakdown of the money side of things. It depends on obviously where you want to work, how much the actual product or service is. Sometimes it can be higher, sometimes it can be a bit lower. But in the space that I work in, the high ticket sales space, basically means that the higher the ticket, the higher the offer, sorry, the more money you're going to make. It is that simple. And yeah, like I said, it does depend on where you want to work. It depends on where you want to take these skills. But yeah, that's sort of a breakdown of the financial side of things and the earning potential. And another question I do get asked a lot, and what I want to break down right now is, how do I actually find a role? Because you see a lot of people say you can appointment set, you can do this, you can do that, but you don't actually know who to work for or where to work. So I'm going to be breaking that down just here. Basically, the best way to actually find roles is through cold outreach. So basically, you're just reaching out to these people, these products, or these businesses that sell a product or service, and just telling them, "Yo, I like your content. I like what you sell. I really want to work for you." But basically, you're just sending these DMs from your phone, like I said, and just telling them, "Yeah, I want to start working for you because I like your business. I like the product or service that you sell, and I would really like to work for you." So it is cold outreach for a reason, because they're not reaching out to you. You're the person who's coming to them wanting to work for them. So there is a lot of, I guess, failures in a sense, because you're not going to find one off the rip, and you've just got to expect that, and you've just got to roll with it, because realistically, like that's how it works. Um, but before actually applying for these roles, right, you need to ensure that your online presence is clean. And now, what I mean by this is, say you're applying or sending these DMs to these businesses through Facebook or Instagram, you need to make sure your bio is clean. You need to make sure that it's a good presence and you look presentable to the business to actually work for them. Because when you think about it, right, like no business or service is actually going to look at you and be like, yeah, this bloke, goes out every weekend. He's posting drugs or sexual things that really, like, we don't want that on our team. We don't want this guy to be on our team. So ensuring that your bio is clean, and what you're actually posting online, because the business will see that when they check you out applying for the job, that it is clean and that it is presentable. Because at the end of the day, you've got to think of it as a resume. When you're applying for a job, you don't put what you're doing on a weekend in the resume, right? Because you don't want the business to have a bad outlook on you, right? So ensuring things like no degeneracy, no drinking or posting thirst traps, sexual exploitation, all of that stuff. You guys get the gist. Drugs or any bad behavior. Because at the end of the day, you want the business to hire you, right? So you need to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. You need to make sure that what they see is who you are, right? It's not the bad parts; it is the good parts of you. And everyone's obviously had their fun and all of that. But if you are out on your online presence, then it is a bad look for businesses. And I can assure you, like, they will not hire someone who has these things sitting in their Instagram or Facebook. So ensuring that is critical to actually landing the role in the first place. But yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest parts to actually landing the role. In terms of getting verified, also massively helps. It massively helps with the success rate of you applying for these roles. As I said, when you put in your resume for a job, the first impression is massive. When you rock up to a job interview, you're looking clean, you're looking presentable, and basically you make them want to hire you because you have that presence and you have that, I guess, aura about you. I hate to say aura, but realistically, like, that's what it is. And getting verified, like, I know not everyone is verified right now. I know a lot of you watching this are probably sitting there thinking, "No, I'm not verified," but there is a way to do that. It is paid for on Instagram, but having that blue tick is a massive, massive factor to getting these roles. It also shows the business that you are serious and you are clean, obviously, in combination with not having this in your bio, not having it on your page, sorry, and obviously no degeneracy, drinking, all of that stuff. In combination with your verification, that is a very, very good first step to be taking in actually successfully landing the role. But yeah, that's the gist of, I guess, the online presence side of things, and how you can actually put your best foot forward in landing a role. The next thing we're going over is how to actually land a role. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit so we can see it all. How to actually land a role. So once you have all these things and your online presence is clean, you're confident that what you're actually putting out there is you, and you feel like you're putting your best foot forward. To actually land a role, we need to send DMs, like I said, that cold outreach and sort of looking for a business to work with. You need to search up for creators that you actually want to work with. So how you do this is actually searching the niche that you want to work in. So, for example, fitness, drop shipping, real estate, or mentorships. Basically, it is different person to person. Where I want to work will be different to where you want to work. But that is all dependent on you and how you actually want to go about that. So searching for the niche that you want to work in is obviously critical to actually enjoying what you're doing, right? Because if you know the product or you know the service and you're not really passionate about it, how passionate are you actually going to be about sending DMs on behalf of that business? It's not going to be highly likely, and you're not going to have a lot of motivation to actually do so. But in terms of taking the first step, if you're happy to just land a role that sort of just gets money in the bank and starts getting you experience, then don't be too picky. But I'd say once you've developed the skills and you're confident and competent and you can take it to any business or service that will actually value you, I would recommend searching up a niche that you actually want to work in, because you're going to have a higher success rate when you're actually passionate about what you're selling, right? The next step is you're actually reaching out to the business. So your message might be along the lines of, "Hey, Tim, I just want to reach out. Love what you're doing with the business. Would love to be a part of your team. Are you actually currently looking for any appointment setters?" So through this message, you're just presenting yourself, obviously in combination with the bio and everything that I've previously talked about. You're basically combining all of that first impression into now a message. Now, the best way to actually go about this and have a higher success rate with that first impression and that first message is usually sending a voice memo or a video, basically like with you in the picture if it's a video, and your voice if it's the voice memo, to basically just put a face to a name, because realistically it's a massive difference between sending a text message, because anyone could do that, send a text message on behalf of you, compared to sending a video or voicemail, because that is actually you and it's physically you. So it definitely has a it definitely heightens the success rate of you actually landing the role itself. A business is going to look at that and be like, yeah, this guy's hungry. He wants to work for us. And yeah, videoing and voice memoing is definitely the best way to go about that. Moving on is actually how many creators or people you should actually reach out to on a day-to-day basis. I know that Instagram has a cap for 100 to 150 people you can DM a day before your account actually gets flagged. So they will sort of take your account down or review it, because you're sending so many DMs out there. So they need to be careful and cautious about who you're actually reaching out to, making sure you're not a scammer. So my recommendation for this is actually sending out around 100 DMs a day to different businesses or offers that you want to work for. Doing this on a day-to-day basis, 7 days a week, that's 700 DMs. You're bound to land a role. So the more DMs you send, obviously not over that 100 to 150 cap, you're actually going to increase the likelihood of you landing a role, because the more offers you apply for, you're spreading yourself across such a wide net. And basically, once you've gotten to this point, and say it's Monday and you've sent 100 DMs to businesses and offers, the next day, obviously repeat the process. So I drew this up because once you've gotten to this point and say you don't land a role, you can still go back, search for more creators, more niches to work in that you want to work in. So spread that net a little bit wider. Try some different things if you want to try some different things and different offers to work for. And then obviously do the same process with the first impression, that first DM reaching out to them. Basically be like, I want an appointment set for you. And just repeat this cycle, obviously, until you land a role, until you're in a role that you're happy with. And even if you land the role and you work there for a bit and you get out of it, you can just keep doing this cycle. But obviously now you've got experience, and you can actually tell them that, okay, I've got experience. So I definitely want to work for you and I've got experience. Now, the next thing I was going over, sorry, I am a little bit lost. Well, that is it. So basically, once you've gotten to this point, and I know this is sort of a harder route to go down, you can actually land roles on Seek. So Seek is a job seeking website. I know it's used in Australia and New Zealand and plenty of other countries, but you can do this route, and it is harder. It is a little bit more difficult to actually get successful roles. But it's not to say that you can't get one. It obviously, the success rate is just dependent on a lot of things. Obviously, your experience, the role you're applying for, etc. But moving on to Seek, basically what you're going to go ahead and do is come over to Seek, number one, and search up appointment setting. There's already options coming up. Here we go. Okay, I'm just going to move this over. The first one that comes up, 65 to 75,000 a year plus commissions. Now, the only thing about this offer that is a red flag to me is the outbound leads. So outbound leads basically mean that, outbound leads are coming in, you have to go find the leads. So inbound means these leads are seeing the marketing or the advertising, and then naturally just going to flow through that funnel, like the one that I drew out for you guys up here. So they're naturally going to come in through the advertising and marketing side of things, then turn into leads or get into the buyer's pocket, as we call it. Then jump onto the sales call with the closer, and the setters and closers obviously get a commission off of that. But the thing with outbound leads is you actually have to go find them. So we don't want that. it's a lot of work and effort to hustle these outbound leads because you're just hunting them down. But in terms of the opportunity on Seek, there are plenty of roles out there. There's so many roles out there. There's so many opportunities in this space. If you don't believe me, go and have a look at Seek right now. I know it's obviously different roles for different areas. Say you live in a different country, you're in the US or wherever you live, they're going to be different opportunities to me in my area. But there are plenty of opportunities out there, and this just goes to show, once you have the skill setting, you can apply this to anything. I'll show you another example. Freedom Property Investors, we'll go with that. 120,000 to 160,000 a year, which is a healthy, very, very healthy salary. Obviously, uncapped commissions, but basically, it obviously depends on what you want to sell for. You can sell for a solar panel company, you can sell for any mentorship, coaching, fitness, stuff like that. Seek doesn't typically have those. There are some on Seek, but it's more so product based, and obviously outbound leads are not what we want. So do try and avoid that at all costs. Obviously, if you want to get into outbound leads, by all means do it. But in terms of my recommendation, I would not recommend outbound leads. They are hard to follow up with and actually get on a call. But yeah, basically that was just the breakdown of appointment setting. That really was just my masterclass and what I actually understand about the space. This is a full breakdown of everything. Do like and subscribe on my channel. I will be uploading more content on closing. So we're going to be going over the closing side of the sales process. I'll leave a link in the description to actually get the training itself. Obviously, if you're interested in getting the training itself and understanding, how to actually appointment set, I'll leave a link in the bio to book on a call with someone who can actually start pointing you in the direction to get that training. But yeah, that was sort of a wrap up of appointment setting. Leave a comment if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. But yeah, I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you guys in the next one.